Are you looking for better shooting experience? How about a facility where you can shoot all of your firearms in the same day, where you can move and shoot steel, draw from the holster, and practice your rifle work out to 600 yards? Shoot a very challenging sporting clays course or a round of trap or skeet. You can do all that and much more at the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Hi, I'm David Lombardo, president of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you love the outdoors, you'll want to know all about Northern Illinois' largest outdoor shooting facility, the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you're a novice looking for a basic course, an experienced shooter looking for an advanced course, or perhaps you want to participate in your favorite shooting event, or just spend an enjoyable day with a family, the Aurora Sportsman's Club is the only shooting facility in the region that offers all that and more. Interested? Then you won't want to miss the next orientation and tour of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Call, email, or visit our website today to find out how you can become part of a better shooting experience at the Aurora Sportsman's Club in Waterman, Illinois.
He is the human Molotov cocktail that they can legally throw into the system that stole their lives from them.
So we're going to create a new government that serves you, your family, and your country. It's time for On Target Radio, Chicagoland's only radio show dedicated to the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech. Now, debating, debunking, and discussing today's hot issues, here are your hosts, David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz.
Welcome to On Target Radio. Tonight, David's rant of the week is, the left abandons any sense of truth in its hatred for the Second Amendment, with David and Gretchen talking about the strongest anti-gun push in decades, and the Illinois legislature wants to take your guns. Then, you won't believe the obscene offer the king of obscenity has made to unseat President Trump. And finally, an update on the Utah detective who falsely arrested the nurse because she refused to violate a patient's rights. All that and more on tonight's On Target Radio. So give us a call at 815-205-1584. That's 815-205-1584. Or go to Facebook, like our page, On Target Radio, and ask a question or make a comment there.
And now, from the seething cauldron of personal opinion, it's time for David's Rant of the Week.
1,137. That's how many different news stories I've gotten up to now about gun control since the Las Vegas shooting. They come from every news media source you can imagine, from major news outlets such as CNN to the smallest newspapers in rural communities where the article is tucked between a recipe for apple pie and the call for adult chaperone volunteers for the next high school dance. 1,137 articles about gun control, and exactly 38 were pro-Second Amendment. Think about that for a second. 1,099 people wrote articles giving every reason imaginable to do away with guns, and just about all of them stress that all U.S. citizens agree, or all gun owners agree, or all hunters agree, or blah, blah, blah. And even as I'm writing this, there is a constant stream of them coming in. I've been a journalist since 1982, and I have never seen this many articles on one topic from so many different sources in agreement for so long. When you read the various reasons that are repeated over and over in every article, why the Second Amendment is outdated and more gun control is needed, if not an outright gun ban, it's difficult to not come to the obvious conclusion. This is bullshit. Fake news at its zenith. More important, this is clearly orchestrated from an up on high, and that can only mean either Michael Bloomberg or George Soros, though on this one, I'm thinking Bloomberg. The profiles have emerged over time about these two bad actors. Bloomberg wants to disarm John Q so he can ascend to the throne and essentially be king. His principal means of implementing his agenda is to do away with the Second Amendment and outlaw firearms. Bloomberg is essentially a Borg. Resistance is futile. Soros, on the other hand, would be a Klingon. He doesn't want to be king of the United States. He wants the U.S. to be reduced to rubble with chaos in the streets and people killing one another. He wants anarchy and social meltdown, so the U.S. can't stop his ascension to king of the world. So Bloomberg uses his billions of dollars to spread gun control lies. Soros spends his to spread killing in the streets. I'd bet a spinach pizza at Semino's that Bloomberg is behind all the anti-Second Amendment articles flooding the news, while Soros is behind overpaid football players objecting to the national anthem. Speaking of which, the World News Bureau apparently did a survey of NFL players that had a college degree and were openly protesting the national anthem. When asked why they are protesting by kneeling during the national anthem, here are some of the responses. Pretty sure it's against Nazis, especially the white ones. We're protesting America becoming capitalistic instead of equal. We're showing the world that we care about things such as freedom from suppression. Me and my fellow players are protesting the Constitution of Independence because of what it does to people of color. We are displaying our right to stand up by kneeling for our beliefs. We are, you can't make this up, we are protesting Trump because he, keeping the black man down and shit. Myself is kneeling to show that just because I'm American doesn't mean I got to act like one. Now, all this raises some questions in my mind. First, why aren't Bloomberg and Soros in prison for sedition? Second, are people so stupid that they can't see how they're being manipulated? And third, what the hell kind of college would issue a degree to any of these idiots? And that, Gretchen, is my rant for the week. I read that and I laughed so hard. We're standing up. We're kneeling to stand up.
So right.
I don't know where these
it's against the white Nazis.
Exactly. Not the black Nazis, which there were none.
We're pretty cool with the black Nazis, but the white ones we got a problem with, man.
It is unbelievable.
It's so funny that you said that, because just before the show, were we not just talking about how if you go to a protest of liberals, and you start asking them, what are you protesting? What is this about? You'll ask 10 people, you'll get 10 different answers.
Well, this is the same.
They're not good at it. In other words,
they have no clue. These are the same people that what's it? Dice Clay, is it?
Oh no, Mark Dice.
Mark Dice.
You're always confusing
with
him
the comedian,
Andrew Dice Clay.
Andrew Dice Clay,
who's an
Mark
comedian.
Dice, who asks questions that are moronically simple. Can you name your senator? No.
Yeah.
My favorite ones that he asks people are like, who did we fight the War of Independence from? Who won? They don't even know who won. When were we in Vietnam? They can't get it within 50 years. These people are morons. If you have
I like the women on the beach wearing shorts and t-shirts, and they're like, "Do you support Sharia law in America?"
Yeah,
and they're like,
yeah, definitely, definitely, yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
or gays who think we should be kinder to militant Islamicists. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to be the first one to die.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
You do realize you're going to die a horrible, horrible death, right?
They don't seem to quite understand that sort of simple issues like that. I don't know. If you have a better answer than any of our people why they kneel, give us a call at 815-205-1584. Maybe the phone works this week. Yeah, I don't know.
It should.
It should, yes.
Hope springs eternal.
Hope springs eternal, yeah. I talked to some guy just yesterday who said he's been listening to our show for years. There are people who listen.
I keep telling you, we need to make our own Nielsen, our own rating thing.
Give me a pad and a paper. I'll make one up.
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
Pad and a paper. I'm going to kneel for that.
You're a little sleep deprived.
It's a little sleep deprived. It was a long day.
Yeah.
48 degrees and windy. Yeah, and I'm out in the mud shooting for people. One good thing came out of the, not a good thing came out of it, but one article, and I said there were, I think, like 38 maybe, and I'm not exaggerating. I actually counted them because they just keep coming in. They don't stop.
Right.
But one of the few that really was a positive thing was this guy who wrote about the L.A. Fire department guy who there was, I've watched videos and stuff about this, and this is, and of course, those people were country western typically.
We don't call it country western anymore, like since the 80s, just FYI.
What do you call it?
It's just country music now. We don't call it country and western.
I like both kinds of music.
I know you like both kinds.
We got both kinds.
We
here.
usually have both kinds here.
Country and western. Ma'am, what kind of music do you play here? We play both kinds.
We have both kinds. Country and western.
I don't know who I was writing to, but Doug Mayhall and the little group of people that talked back and forth, and I gave that quote from Blazing Saddles about my thoughts are a rivulet stream of all that kind of stuff. They didn't get that.
I thought you were going to say, is it true what they say about your people?
No,
not that one.
Oh,
not that quote.
Yeah, but they didn't get it. But the funny thing is, Doug said so. He was in Spain, right? And he sent me a thing back.
Is he installing pools in Spain?
I didn't ask.
That guy's like a globetrotter.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Oh, I think his wife says we're going.
Yeah.
But he says I don't recognize the quote. I said, anybody in here savvy enough to recognize that quote? And he goes back and goes, no. And I told him what it was, and he goes, oh. And then on the flight back, they played Blazing Saddles.
No.
Yeah, he said
for everybody.
Yeah, it was one of the choices. He said, this is really ironic. He sent me an email. He says, this is really ironic. I'm flying back from here, and they're showing Blazing Saddles, which, if you see it in the unedited version, is one of the funniest movies ever made. If you see it in the edited version, first of all, it's only 7 minutes long. But a great movie. Couldn't do it today. But, yeah, this guy met this Michael Mandel who literally took his girlfriend and gave them to these people and said, take care of my girlfriend, get her out of here, and just kept going back in. And there was a lot of people.
To clarify, he was going out into the fray to
well,
try to save people.
I was going to say, there's record of a lot of people who did just that.
Yeah.
They didn't try and run away. They ran back in, and they were pulling people out.
Well, I mean, a lot of country fans are police officers, firefighters,
exactly.
Military, ex-military, so yeah.
So they did. We're going to talk a little bit more about some laws and stuff and what they're going to do in Illinois, too. We've been talking about that. So all that and more when we return with more on Target Radio.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invite you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
Do you dread writing? Is it challenging to find just the right words to get your point across? Do you put off developing marketing materials because you just don't know where to start? You get one chance to make a first impression, and my editor, Creative Business Services, can help make it a strong, positive one. Hi, this is Gretchen Fritz, co-host of On Target Radio, and I'd like to tell you about My Editor, a business I started to help you overcome those concerns. What you're experiencing is very common. My Editor has helped business owners, candidates for political office, and even authors and public speakers. At My Editor Creative Business Services, we can simply edit your existing work or help you develop an entire writing plan of action from initial project design through final copy. We are easy to work with and will help you get your point across in the most effective manner. If words escape you, send me an email at myeditor@mail.com. Use My Editor Creative Business Services and go to print with confidence. That's My Editor at mail.com or find us on Facebook.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
You know, for the past couple of years, we've been pretty lucky with gun-related legislation. But the Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, these are the West Coast whack jobs, an 11-judge panel of the Ninth Circuit upheld California's county ordinance banning new gun stores within 500 feet of schools, daycare centers, so on and so forth, despite the fact there is not one shred of evidence that it has made any difference anywhere, ever.
Yeah.
No one has ever gone into a gun store, bought a gun, and walked into a school with it next door and shot anybody.
No.
That it's feel-good crap, as it always is.
Although it does make sense to me that they're saying the argument was that gun sellers have Second Amendment rights and that it's violating their Second Amendment rights. They're saying there is no constitutional right to sell guns, which
No. However,
I can get down with that.
however, that's true, but it's sort of de facto not true, because if you have a right to own, to possess, and carry a firearm, that implicitly assumes that there's a right
That you
to
can
sell
get
them,
one,
right,
right.
that you can buy it. If, in other words, you can't buy, this would be an Obama thing. Well, it was a Chicago thing, actually, and that is, you can't sell them in the city of Chicago. Well,
Right.
what happens to all the people who have no real transportation?
Right.
Then that's a de facto, and that's, of course, exactly what he said the second time around was.
Sure.
But anyway, so, yeah, the Ninth Circuit said they're going to uphold that, which means it's probably going to go to it'll probably go to the U.S. Supreme Court, because now you've got a difference of opinion among circuits. So we'll see how that goes. The other thing that they
So, I mean, it's kind of good that it set up that conflict.
yeah, I mean, the more, as long as, nobody drops dead on the right side of the aisle in the Supreme Court. If they just do what What's-Her-Face does, and that's pump embalming fluid through her veins, Ginsburg.
Yeah.
I mean, she's very small, too. I didn't
Yeah.
I think
I think she's like smaller than me, actually.
I think she's like 5.
5 foot tall, yeah.
You think
Sounds
she'd
right.
just keel over, Then Illinois, we were, I'm out on the board of ISRA now, and so I went to my first board meeting yesterday, and we were talking about this, and quite frankly, they're a lot more worried about this thing than I realized it was going to be a big
Okay.
issue. Todd told me it was going to be a big issue, and it's not that I disbelieved him, but they're really are concerned about it. Martin Moylan, who's a Democrat from Des Plaines, has introduced literally a ban of all assault weapons, large caliber rifles, bump stocks, high capacity magazines, anything that holds more than 10 rounds, everything.
Well, I don't know if this is accurate or not, because I had a friend who texted me about this as well, but this said it would ban the sale of
Right.
these. So if you already had it,
Apparently, they may be grandfathered.
okay.
Maybe.
So, but yeah, that's what my friend was saying, is like,
Yeah.
I'm going to have to put all my best guns somewhere else, some other state, but that's not what this is actually saying.
And we don't know how it'll actually come out.
Right,
but
exactly.
Then the other one, and of course, Moylan's always been a pain in the neck. And we lost, why I can never remember his name, is embarrassing. I've met him in Vegas, and he's a really nice guy. The Southern Democrat, Southern Illinois Democrat, who basically was very active in concealed carry. You remember his name? Brendan? Brendan, I can't remember his last name. Phelps. He's no longer in the legislature.
Oh.
He became a lobbyist.
Oh, okay.
He's in the legislature,
Well,
just not in the legislature.
It's lucrative.
It is, but that was a pretty strong voice, because
Sure.
he had a seat at Madigan's table.
Right.
And now we don't have anybody that has a seat at Madigan's table. That's a problem.
Typically, there have been a number of downstate pro-gun Democrats, though.
He was the guy. He had the seniority. He was the guy. The other one is Kathleen Willis, who's a representative from Addison, back with the licensing a gun dealer thing. And if you remember that, it doesn't say it in this thing, but if you remember the licensing gun dealer, if you sold over, what was it, 10?
Yeah, 10 or 11.
It was something like that. If you sold more than whatever that was, like 9, 10 guns in a year, you're automatically a dealer, which puts you in violation because you're not licensed.
Right, you would have to adhere to all the requirements.
So that was in there, and I'm assuming it's the same bill. I haven't read it, but I'm assuming it's the same bill. The problem is, we don't really have any, we don't have the votes to stop stuff. So, look, the NRA, the NRA has thrown bump guns under the bus. Now, they did a very interesting thing. I don't know if you followed this or not. What the NRA said is, maybe ATF should take another look at it. Now, at first, that kind of ticked me off. I'm going to throw it under the bus. And then I started thinking about this. They're actually playing this very cool.
Oh, yeah.
Because because the reason is that a bump gun, if you've ever had one, or at least shot one, it's pretty close to full auto. It's not, but it's pretty fast. It's a very high rate. So what the NRA has said is, we're mum on this. Let the ATF take another look at it. Now, what are the two outcomes? The ATF takes a look at it and goes, yeah, it should be illegal, or it should be controlled. The NRA goes, that wasn't our decision.
Right.
That's the ATF. That's their right. ATF goes, no, they're legal. See, they can't lose either way.
Well, and not only that, but the NRA saying maybe ATF should do this, the ATF probably would do it anyway. I mean, whether or not the NRA suggests it makes no difference.
They approved it, and
right initially,
right.
And so, it was run by ATF, and they put out they do these letters, which doesn't make any sense to me. But they put out a letter, and they said no, it's not. It doesn't make the gun anything other than a semi-auto, which is what it is, and it's not a functional part. It's just,
and that's the key issue.
Right. I mean, it basically, It has no function.
Right. You're not altering any part of the action of the gun. And that's been the key issue. By their own definition in their, I don't know if it's a law, but whatever.
Yeah.
By their own definition, it does not fit.
Right. It doesn't meet the standard.
So while people were real ticked off at the NRA, and a lot of people still are, after thinking about it, they're not that dumb.
Well, not only that, but I would say even more so than a suppressor type of concept, which we're trying to get. We've been trying to get that all session. A lot of people really want that. I think that's probably a better issue. It's more important. It has a legitimate sporting purpose. I mean, somebody asked us, we were out somewhere, and somebody said, why would you have they wanted to know, they didn't know what a bump stock was, so we explained, this is what a bump stock does, this is what it is. And they said, what is the purpose of it? Why would you want such a thing? And we just looked at each other and we go, it's fun.
Yeah. Good time.
I have more money than I know what to do with. Yeah. That's basically, I mean, it has no legitimate sporting purpose. So,
you wouldn't hunt with it.
Right. So, I mean, as far, and, don't send me emails. It's just I have no position on I mean, I have no position of power or anything, but I would be okay with sacrificing that to the,
Here's my only problem. I had one member whose opinion I value. He's a good member. He's been a member for many, many years, who said, maybe I ought to take a look at this. I had another member earlier in this year call me and say, we shouldn't allow bump guns. And I go, why? And he says, they sound like they're full auto. And I go, okay.
That's not a
so
reason.
What? Yeah. And he goes, well, people will think we're shooting auto. And I go, wait. If we said we're going to ban bump guns at Aurora Sportsman's Club because they sound like they're full auto, we've just become liberals.
Right.
We're banning a gun based on something that has no meaning whatsoever.
Based on the way it makes you feel.
Exactly, right. And I said, I can't do that. I just won't do it. And I said the same thing to this person who said maybe he sent me another club is now banning them, and the chief range safety officer of that club is a guy who I know, and he's the chief of police in a town out west of here, not too far. Nice guy, but he's a cop, and he's not anti-gun by any stretch of the imagination. He's a shooter and a hunter, but he has sort of seen the tack that, what's the point? Well, the point is it's not illegal. That's the point.
Exactly. That's the point. If you want to be able to say, if it's legal, you can shoot it here.
Exactly.
You have to allow it.
Right.
But yeah, I don't think that a specific group like yours should ban it simply because of the way it might make someone feel. Okay, because like you said, that makes us no better than what was it, Friedman, the judges that ruled in Friedman. I mean, that was some crap.
Because we know it doesn't make a difference, but if it makes people feel better.
Right.
Oh,
exactly.
That's nice.
Aww.
I had occasion.
Let's pass out teddy bears.
I had occasion, just in the past week, having a little discussion with somebody who was liberal about this, and they used the words, "Let's compromise on bump guns." Mm-hmm. I said, "Okay, let's compromise on that. I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll give you bump guns if you give me abortion." And they go, "That's got nothing to do with it." I go, "Compromise don't have to have anything to do with anything. You want A, I want B. You want to compromise? I'll give you A, you give me B."
It's simply a deal.
Right.
We're making a deal.
And they couldn't, that would like short circuit this woman's brain. She couldn't, but it has nothing, it doesn't have to. You want to compromise.
That's not the point.
You want something I got, I want something you got.
Right, exactly. It's like, this is something you can give me.
Exactly.
And I want it.
So then she says, "Well," I said, "What are you going to give me then?" And she goes, "Well, we won't take your guns away from you." And I go, "You're not anyway.
You can't do that.
You can't take them away from me.
You don't have that to give because it's not yours."
Exactly. So that's not a compromise. You're not giving me anything.
Exactly.
You're telling me I'm getting something I already got.
Right. Exactly.
So I'm going to give up something because I already have something. Yeah, that's going to work.
This is like the trick that like big brothers play on little sisters. You know, this is what it sounds like.
Yeah. Just they hold out a little thing in it.
Right.
Yeah.
They're like, "I'll trade you this for this," but they never wanted this in the first place.
Yeah.
You know?
It's this is crazy. I mean, liberalism is just, they literally don't think.
It's a sickness.
It is. The more you encounter it, the more I realize.
That's like the T-shirt I sent you. I wanted to be a liberal for Halloween, but I couldn't fit my head up my ass.
That was fun.
I thought you would appreciate that.
And this is a little piece, and again, this is getting back to the same silliness.
One more thing about this thing. This is Fox 32 about the Moylan thing.
Yeah.
It says that Moylan said that the guy was scoping out a Chicago site, but after that, like a couple of days after that was reported, I heard it wasn't true.
Oh,
so
I don't know about that.
I'm not sure if that was debunked or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I had heard that wasn't.
And here's somebody who, this is a letter to the editor, but again, he says, we keep leaving off the part about militia. Well, the problem is he's leaving off the part of understanding history, okay? Because the militia was just common man. There were armies. There was an army. Mm-hmm. And militia was what they called the common man, like Switzerland. Switzerland and Australia.
Not only that, but at the time, in order to have a militia, people had to have privately owned guns. That's what it wasn't like the army owns the guns and they pass them out to you.
Right.
They had to be privately owned, and so that was the point.
These people don't understand history at all.
No.
It's funny.
Well, the fact of the matter is I think they do, and they just don't care.
Yeah, probably. When we come back, we're going to talk about what happened at Lake County, which I think is great, and Larry Flint, my favorite pornographer. So all that and more when we return with more on Target Radio. Hi, I'm David Lombardo, co-host of On Target Radio, and I'd like to offer you a partnership opportunity. For over 4 years, On Target Radio covered the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech on AM 560 The Answer. But a 1-minute commercial was $200, making it tough to find enough sponsors. So last November, we left AM 560 and began podcasting. There's a learning curve to podcasting, and we've worked through the kinks and would now like to make you an offer. You can have a 60-second audio or video commercial for as little as $25 a week. We can also offer fellow conservatives their own radio or video podcast for as little as $100 a week with equipment and technical personnel included. You provide the content and host, Plus, get 6 free minutes of commercial time you can sell yourself. If you'd like to be an On Target Radio sponsor or explore the possibility of having your own show, call me at 815-741-3474, and let's explore the possibilities together.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
This segment is brought to you by the Will County Grassroots Division of the Illinois State Rifle Association. Join us at 7 p.m. Wednesday, October 18th at the Silver Dollar Restaurant in Elwood, Illinois. Our guest speakers will be Judge David Carlson, attorneys Ed Ronkowski, Reagan Freitag, and David Lombardo discussing your day in court. Can't make it to Elwood? The program will be broadcast live and archived for future viewing on youtube.com on Target Radio. Join us Wednesday, October 18th at 7 p.m. at the Silver Dollar Restaurant in Elwood, Illinois.
That's this Wednesday.
It is.
It is indeed. And
It's coming up.
Ronkowski said it would be fair, I think, to say that Ed doesn't always know when to stop.
That's fair.
I think that's fair. We love him, but, you know. And
he likes to talk.
Yeah, and I told him, 15 minutes. That's it, 15. Because there's 4 of us. 15, 4 people, 1 hour. If we start 7:15, 8:15, leaves 15 minutes for questions and answers. And since he's number 2, because I'm going to have Judge Carlson, I have to remember to be polite. I'll have Judge Carlson.
He's Dave to us.
Well, he is, but, publicly you have to credit where credit's due. But so Judge Carlson is going to do his thing, and then I figure you do the prosecutor, and then you do the defense attorney, and I'm the lowly expert witness.
Yeah, you're just a peon.
Yeah. They postponed my trial again.
I'm not surprised.
George. Now it's kicked off to January.
Wow.
Yeah, it's my money floating down the road there.
I know.
Anyway, Lake County. I think this did not work out the way these people had hoped.
Yeah, if you're Facebook friends with On Target Radio, you saw my post about this earlier in the week. I said, "Shut up and take my money."
It was a fundraiser for the Republican Party in Lake County,
Lake
right?
County, yes.
And you know who the guest speaker was?
No, I missed that.
It was Joe.
Oh, Joe Walsh.
Yeah.
Well, I saw he was there. He lives there, so I thought
Yeah.
maybe he just attended.
Yeah. So
Yeah, Joe and Helene were there.
So they made a big deal of this, right? All the protesters are going to be there from 11 different organizations.
I started hearing news reports on Thursday about the day before.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they started earlier than that, but I started hearing them the day before.
And the issue at point was it's a Republican fundraiser, and to raise money, they're raffling off firearms.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this thing has been planned for 6-8 months.
Oh, longer. They said a year.
Okay, so for a year. So, and they're going, to do that right after,
So insensitive.
How about you just shut the you-know-what up?
Yeah.
Okay? Because it was planned a long time ago, and it has nothing to do with it.
Right.
These people are psycho. So they thought that they were going to do a Steve Ballich routine like these, okay? It didn't quite work out the way they'd hoped.
Yeah.
They got flooded with people that came up, paid the money.
Yeah, you said
went to dinner.
the ticket sales had not been stellar
hadn't been-
leading
I
up to it.
guess it was okay, but it was they weren't sold out.
They end up selling out.
Oh, yeah, they packed the joint. I wanted to go, but I had something I had to do. You said you wanted
me
to go,
too.
but you had something.
Yeah, my sister was in town,
Yeah.
so that was more important. But
And
they.
I'd have worn my NRA training counselor shirt if I went.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
And I told Eric, I said, I saw the day after, then they reported on the protesters. And I would have said there might have been 50 protesters.
that's not
and this
they
says
wrote up.
dozens.
Yeah.
So that's suggestive of only maybe, 36.
Yeah, it's always interesting.
Yeah, not a huge protest.
And when you put that in parallel with this deluge of articles saying everybody agrees, even conservatives, even gun owners agree that we should have more gun control, and you put that next to that, they don't match up well.
Right.
Yeah, where the rubber meets the road, there's some skid marks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so the chairman of the Republican Party in Lake County, Mark Shaw, he said the group would have been met by protesters regardless of when it was. He said it had nothing to do with Las Vegas, which may or may not be true.
They were just
okay, so I'm going to try to read this without laughing. Protest co-organizer Pat Heisey of People Over Party said, no, nobody's trying to stomp on their Second Amendment rights. If they make rocket launchers available, is everyone going to have one of those too? A line's got to be drawn someplace. A line's got to be drawn, and this is it.
If you've never had an opportunity to shoot a rocket launcher, you really do want one.
I did.
It's very cool to shoot that thing. Yeah.
It's probably even more fun than shooting that cannon that your guy has at ASC.
Well, the cannon is cool.
It's fun to watch.
It's fun to
it's fun to
cool.
watch the
but
cannon.
It's not real dynamic. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's fun to watch because it like rocks backwards.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Try a rocket launcher.
Yeah. Okay. A 12-gauge shotgun would not knock me on my butt, but I think a rocket launcher probably would.
Actually, surprisingly, they're not bad.
Really?
They've got.
There's like a gas.
I mean, I haven't looked at one in 50 years.
It's like a gas
But there
compensation
was
thing
it ignites when after it goes, leaves the tube.
Sure,
So
right.
it's a rocket.
Right.
Yeah. It's just cool. It blows stuff up.
Yeah.
Blowing stuff. There's a lot to be said for blowing stuff up.
It's kind of a fun hobby.
You know where we need to go?
Where?
We need to go to Knob Creek.
Okay. Where's that?
Knob Creek is where they have the big all full auto thing.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And by the way, Barry Bordage said that we should have been in Atlanta, and next year he's going to make sure that we get invited. It's where the manufacturers show up with all new stuff, and there's all these journalists there.
Oh,
and
besides SHOT Show?
No, it's a small, I guess, kind of version.
Small
of it.
version, okay.
And
Sounds
nobody
good.
was doing video interviews.
What?
Yeah. He said, you guys got to go down.
That's crazy talk.
That's crazy talk. Speaking of crazy and bottom of the barrel,
You're welcome.
Larry Flint. Now, for those of you who don't know Larry Flint, you're ahead of the game. But I'm going,
You haven't missed anything.
oh, no, you've missed a lot, but it's a good thing.
No, your life is better.
Your
for
life
it.
is better for it, yes. Larry Flint was always jealous of Hugh Hefner. So he started his own thing called Hustler.
Hustler. Mm-hmm.
I can't even begin to here's the thing, and you may not agree with this, but there's tasteful nudes, and then there's those that aren't. Larry Flint specialized in the ones that aren't. I mean, they were just...
Well, you have to have a competitive advantage. I mean, you have to...
No.
You have to... Well, if you're competing with Playboy, you have to offer something different.
It is different.
There has to be a reason to go with the alternative.
Well, he did. And the thing
Just from a purely capitalistic standpoint. I'm not advocating for such a thing.
That the women in there... I just don't even know what to say. I wouldn't. There's an expression that guys use. I wouldn't do her with but I don't want to say that because
that's funny.
It's gross.
I thought you were going to say like what people say about strippers. Some of them you want to pay them to put their clothes back on.
There's that too. Look, and I'm sure none of our listeners this is going to affect anybody that would pose for pictures like we're in there are not going to be. They're not going to be Julia Roberts, okay?
Well, right.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like they said in that movie about the bunny ranch.
Yeah.
You don't dream about doing that as a little girl. You end up here because something went wrong in your life.
Something went wrong, exactly. So anyway, Larry Flint, who truly is a scumbag. I mean, truly is. And I give a lot of people the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
He's the bottom of the barrel. He is offering.
He's offering
$10 million for any information that will end up getting Trump impeached. Now, just think about that. $10 million. There, people will crawl the woodwork. You're going to see.
Maybe.
You're going to see. Well, maybe we'll never see it. There's going to be falsified documents. There's going to be Photoshop picture. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
This is a fiasco. This is exactly the kind of stuff that this guy and Jan, what's his face, of Rolling Stone. What's his name? Jan Winter.
I don't know. Not familiar.
They take over the top junk and put it out. $10 million. Look, people like this, they make me sick. They really do. If you want to get somebody out of office, all right. I mean, we certainly would not have objected to Barack Obama getting impeached.
We supported all the birther stuff that Joe Arpaio and others were doing.
But here's the thing. You go after something legitimate. If there's a legitimate thing, then that's fair play. Mm-hmm. But these guys just make this crap up. They just make it up. And offering $10 million, that's just nuts.
Well, he's one of the things he's claiming is that it's the Electoral College's fault. We need to get rid of the Electoral College.
Which brings us, that's a perfect segue.
A lot of people have been saying that.
This is a perfect segue. Steve Bannon, who came out of Breitbart and served as the chief of staff for Trump for a while, was just lately, he was on a show, I think, I forget, I don't remember offhand. But anyway, he said that in 2020, not only is Trump going to win in 2020, he's going to take 400 electorals. That'll be the first time it's done, and it's been done in like 30 years. And despite all the stuff that the news has, people are getting really tired of that. They're getting really, because it's so over the top.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like you look at it and you go, gee, I wonder if this is true. You look at it and you go, that's insane. Mm-hmm. It's not true. And literally, the Democrats are sticking to a game plan that I think is going to be an anchor. I think it's going to drag them to the bottom.
You know, and the Republicans, I think they're being pretty smart. I actually get fairly frequent, it says weekly, I don't know if it really is weekly, but I get fairly frequent emails from the Republican Party, and they're asking for money, of course. But what they're doing is they're calling it the weekly opinion poll or weekly weekly poll of, do you approve of the job that Trump is doing? And so, I mean, they're taking a pulse like constantly, and it's from people who, you know, are supportive, but those are the same people who are not being polled by NBC, CNN. You know, they're the same people who are not being polled by them, and so I think it's brilliant.
Well, those polls that are being done of a cross section are low for Trump. However, they're like 32%. Mm-hmm. However, Congress is like 9%, right. And the press is 6%.
Right.
I mean, so 32 is like good.
Yeah, that's like.
But that's of a general cross section of the population. Mm-hmm. But if you look at a poll of the people who voted for Trump, it's pretty high. It's pretty high. They're going to vote for him again, right. And more people are joining that crowd. Mm-hmm. So
there may be a few people who will drop off that don't like the tweeting, and you know, I've been hearing that, but yeah, I think most people are sticking with him. I think most people are happy with what's going on.
The man is quirky. There's no doubt about it. We've never had a president like him, but then look what he's doing.
You don't get to be president unless you're egocentric, you know,
exactly.
A-hole. I mean, that's just...
Well, we'll come back in a little bit, and we're going to talk about that. I don't know if you remember, but the cop who dragged the nurse out. We're going to talk about that when we return with more on Target Radio.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invites you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
In need of a ride to O'Hare or Midway Airport? Well, look no further. The Yellow Checker Cab Company is the cab company for you. With the Yellow Checker Cab Company, you will always be greeted by a friendly face and arrive safely and on time for your flight. Start your trip off right by taking advantage of one of their limos, shuttle vans, cabs, or courtesy cars. And airport trips are not all they specialize in. This 24-hour cab service will pick you up anytime, any day, for any occasion. From bachelorette parties to school dances to just a night out with with friends. Yellow Checker Cab Company has the best rates in town. So sit back, relax, and leave the driving to the professionals. Once you experience their fast and affordable cab service, you'll be a customer for life. When it comes to cab companies, be sure to choose Yellow Checker Cab because you have the right to expect certain things from your cab company. For further information or to book your trip today, call 815-744-2900. That's 815-744-2900.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life. Stand by. Here's Gretchen with your action items for the week.
Please contact your congressman and encourage them to support the Sportsman's Heritage and Recreational Enhancement, or SHARE Act, H.R. 3668, when it comes up for a vote. It passed out of committee in September and is expected to come up for a full House vote soon, but liberal media is trying to whip up hysteria against it. From the Illinois State Rifle Association, while people of good conscience ponder the aftermath of the recent Las Vegas mass murder, political opportunists have seized the moment to hammer the rights of lawful American citizens. Illinois State Representative Marty Moylan of Des Plaines is one such opportunist. Late last week, Moylan introduced HB 4107, a bill that would result in the ban and eventual forfeiture of millions of firearms lawfully owned by Illinois citizens. Enactment of HB 4107 would in no way deter crime or prevent the occurrence of events such as the Las Vegas mass murder. Marty Moylan has an obsessive hatred of firearms and the people who own them, said ISRA Executive Director Richard Pearson. The ISRA won't stand by and watch Moylan tax, license, register, and eventually confiscate arms belonging to law-abiding Illinois citizens. Stay tuned. When the time is right, they will be asking all Illinois firearms owners to contact their state representatives and state senators to ask them to vote against HB 4107 should it come to the floor. The following Safer USA classes are at our facility in Waterman. Saturday, October 21st, Tactical Pistol 1 and 2, taught by David. Saturday and Sunday, November 4th and 5th, Illinois Concealed Carry 1. This 16-hour class will be taught by David and Gretchen and meets the training requirements for Illinois Concealed Carry, as well as Florida, Arizona, and Utah. To sign up for classes, go to saferusa.com and click on Register.
I'm going to be, we're going to do video with Richard on Wednesday to talk about this, and it'll go up on the ISRA website. So I'll cut it as fast as I can, but we'll put it up. It's a big issue. It's a real big issue. And people, I don't think, quite realize how big of an issue it is. If you don't remember, there was a Utah detective. Did you see that video finally?
I did.
That's
yeah.
horrible.
Oh, it was ridiculous.
I mean, that's even
now,
if nothing else, he should have just been reasonable, you know.
The first thing that struck me, though, is resisting arrest is illegal. So
Right.
she's resisting arrest, which is wrong.
Yeah, but
I
she
mean,
didn't start out that way.
If nothing else, she could be charged with resisting arrest.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, you know, everybody who was commenting on the video was saying, "Oh, this is horrible. This is horrible." I'm like, no, she's doing wrong.
Yeah, well,
Now he also did wrong.
talk about
but,
excessive use of force.
Right, he also did wrong, but she was also doing wrong. So just want to put that out there.
Well, the problem is, he was doing wrong because, in fact, he was wrong. She was doing wrong because, in fact, she was right.
Yes.
So, but you're right. If a cop says, "Wear my nice shiny bracelets," you have to do it.
Right, exactly.
But this is a civil rights thing, really. But if you haven't seen the video, this backstory is this. The cop, who, by the way, was not working as a cop at the moment.
Oh,
He was working as a paramedic.
Oh, I
He was
didn't
working
know
as a
that.
part-time paramedic for him. Well,
Okay.
but he is a cop. You know.
Okay.
So what happened was there was an accident, and he wanted blood drawn from the driver of the truck involved in the accident.
Sure.
And the nurse goes, "I can't do that." She wasn't denying it. The hospital's policy.
Right.
It's an invasion. It's Fourth Amendment.
Right.
You got to have a warrant.
Right.
Or permission. Well, the guy was unconscious or something. I don't
Yeah.
know what. She said, I can't do that. And he said, I want it now. Now, if he would have called the desk, who would have then called the state's attorney.
You would have gotten a warrant.
Yeah. Well, probably they would have said, because wait till you hear the rest of the story. And now the rest of the story. The desk would have gone, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. So this is an editorial note in this article. It says, what most media isn't telling you is the truck driver wasn't a suspect in anything. There was no reason. Why would you draw blood on a guy that was not a suspect and wasn't guilty of anything, or presumed guilty?
Yeah, we did it when somebody was actually under arrest.
Right, which he wasn't. It says the backstory is that the police were involved in a high-speed car chase. The original suspect had crashed headfirst into the semi-truck and died, according to the sources within Utah Police Department. The reason former Officer Payne wanted to draw the blood is unclear, but it's been theorized that a possibility of wanting to find out some sort of alcohol or drug presence in the bloodstream to take some of the pressure off of the PD. They were going what we call code, lights and sirens.
Right.
Which you're not supposed to
High-speed
do,
chase.
and caused a fatal accident.
Right. A lot of departments have nixed that. Have said you either have to get permission to engage in a high-speed
That's what we had to
chase,
do.
or you're just simply not allowed to do
Yep.
it.
When I first started, you could do it. It was my call.
Right.
They changed that for that very reason, because you're pushing. The theory was, if the suspect presented a clear and present danger to the public, in other words, they're shooting people as they drive or whatever,
Right.
then have at it.
Right.
But if it's you got his license plate, for crying out loud, if he blew a red light, you're going to go code
Right,
on the guy,
exactly.
and people were cops were doing that.
Right.
So you used to have to call it in, which nobody liked, but it was a reasonable thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, of course he's got there's video, right? And they look at this thing and they go, no, that's not going to work. You
Yeah.
can't do that. And they fired him. And justifiably so, they should have.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, and the fact of the matter is, they teach you law when you go to police academy. He knew that what he was doing wasn't, or he should have known what he was doing wasn't legal.
And and the thing is, cops don't know all the law, but all he had to do is get on the radio or the phone and call the desk and go, "Hey, this is my situation. Yes or no?"
Right, they would just tell him yes or no.
If the desk sergeant
And if they didn't know,
he'd
they
call
would
the
call,
prosecutor.
right, they'd call a judge.
Or a prosecutor, one or the other.
Right.
And they would have clarified right on the spot whether or not you could do it. And the answer would have been, no, you can't do it. Which brings us to, when you say no, it brings us to Harvey Weinstein.
No
because
means no.
Lots of people, yes, that's right. Lots of people said no, and it didn't matter. Harvey Weinstein, who I've never had a particularly positive impression of Harvey Weinstein over the years. He always seems somewhat of a scumbaggy kind of guy. Harvey Weinstein and his brother, whose name I can't think of offhand, own a big movie production company, very famous. Yes. I mean, they've done some very, very big movies.
Oh yeah.
Turns out, all these years, basically he's been diddling people and forcing them into it.
Or harassing,
Yeah.
There was one woman who said that she turned him down, and he goes, "Okay, we'll just stand there and be quiet," and he takes it out and starts touching himself.
Yeah, and you want a part? Mm-hmm. It's pay to play. I mean, he was just a scumbag.
It's a casting couch.
Yeah, and so it finally caught up with him, and which more power to that. So his company will probably go down the chart. Now his brother's fighting like crazy to not lose the company. Oh, I didn't know my brother was doing that. 30-some years?
BS.
You haven't figured that out?
Yeah.
Yeah. But he did say, I knew that he was having affairs on his wife. Okay. Well, that's sort of a foot through that door, isn't it?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I would think that would tell you something. The interesting thing is that he's good friends with Barack and Hillary.
Yeah.
I found that.
And he's donated money to Rahm Emanuel too.
Yeah. So there you
lots
go.
of Democrats have taken his money.
There's a big surprise. I already read that one, so that was I put that on the bottom.
Yeah,
of the
we have
stick.
6 minutes left, and we're out of material.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you how my day went. How's that?
Okay.
We did a fundraiser today for out at Aurora for the Olympics, Special Olympics.
Oh, nice.
You know, like the one, it was the same guys. It was McReynolds and those people from
Oh,
St. Charles.
Okay.
So as a result of when we covered them, did the video of them in St. Charles, they mentioned to me, Jim McReynolds mentioned to me, that they wanted to add a second kind of fundraiser, shooting related, but it'd be kind of cool to do AR-15s and stuff, so we hosted that today.
Oh, cool.
And it was 247 below zero. The wind, it was
You
Waterman
never
wind.
exaggerate.
It was Waterman wind. We all know that, right?
yeah.
Well,
we know what
and that's
Waterman wind is.
special.
Oh
It
yeah,
is-
yeah,
it is
special. You know, we have the big tent that it was they brought out and set up because yesterday was Lynch Foundation fundraiser. So they have this, what is that, a 40 by 20, I think, the real big top looking tent.
Yeah, it's about the size.
Yeah, and it was literally falling. It was ripping up. I mean, that's how
Oh,
bad the
dang.
wind was. Oh yeah, I mean the big thick poles that are, you know, what is that? Probably 6 inches around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some of them were lifting off the ground
Right.
and flying.
I've seen
over.
that happen, yeah.
It was so we're out there doing the shooting stuff. I brought the VTAC board and the Glocks, and they were shooting 9s, and we had some ARs, and they were shooting that. They were shooting black powder, and they had Barry Bordage brought out Crazy Quail, and everybody always loves that.
Yeah.
And they had food and everything. It would have been beautiful, except it literally was in the high 40s,
Yeah.
and the wind was just fierce,
Yeah.
and mud.
Yeah.
Because it rained.
That's what y'all are known for.
It rained.
I have so many
bad.
pictures of like my pants after, and that's just concealed carry test. That's not
Yeah.
even like.
Do you see my boots in the
It's
sink?
not even moving and shooting. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was. Well, next year it'll be better. For one thing, we'll move it closer to summer.
That would be good.
Yeah. I don't know. So that was good, but that's it. We're doing more and more charity stuff, which is I like that. I don't have the money to do it, so I spend the clubs.
Good.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Pretty decent, but I don't know. Anyway, so we're
Makes you look like a nice guy.
yeah, we're doing well, and a number of people listen to the radio show. The number of people, as they cycle through me, I was doing the Glocks with the 9mm stuff. They go, "You're Lombardo?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "You still got that radio show? What happened to you?" A couple of them said, "What happened to you?" And I go, "We're on Sunday nights at 8:00 with podcast." And they go,
Like I said, we need to make listening cards, new listening cards.
"Yeah." And they go, "Oh, I didn't know. You just disappeared." And I go, "Well, we're still on." He goes, "Well, we'll listen to you." So if you're listening, you can call in and say hi. Hi. Because this is the segment of our show where we're being so creative. This is called pulling it out of thin air.
This is vamping.
Yeah, vamping. That's good. But anyway, that's going well. And it was nice. Mike Huber was there, who's friends with the NRA guy. I always liked Mike, and he had some interesting suggestions. So we did well. And you were doing family.
Yeah. My sister and her husband and their 3 kids were in town from Arizona.
Why would you go from
For
Arizona
6
to
days.
Chicago when it's 40-some degrees?
Well, normally early October is a little bit warmer than it is right now. And actually, they did have a couple of nice days. When they showed up, it was warm, and they went apple picking on Friday. Friday was nice.
Where'd you go apple picking?
I didn't go. They went to Woodstock.
Ah, did they bring candles and, I don't know.
Different Woodstock.
Oh. They should have gone to Waterman.
Okay. For apples?
There's a big, right? There's a big...
There's a winery, I think.
There's a winery, but there's also a big orchard there. You can pick apples.
I've never seen
And they
it.
serve pies. You can buy pies and stuff.
I've never seen it.
I didn't know about that.
Well, just because you didn't see it. I mean, I've never seen a lot of things, but I believe in them. I believe the Loch Ness Monster exists just because I haven't seen it. And
didn't
big
know about
Sasquatch. Come on, everybody believes in Sasquatch.
Well, because it's a fact.
Yeah, right. I saw it on the internet.
It's got to be true.
Yeah,
It's amazing what we'll go down to when it gets to the point where we're running out of, end of the show, we've run out of material.
Yeah, but my friend Wallace. So we met at Brian's American Grill in Downers Grove, and we had a lovely dinner. And my friend Wallace was the DJ.
Has he changed venues?
He's had that gig for a while.
Oh,
He's had that gig for a while. So
Okay.
he actually DJs karaoke there Friday and Saturdays. So, so yeah, if anyone's interested, they had good food, nice. The regulars there, oh my gosh, the people were so nice.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, we got 31 seconds. We got to go.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen tonight, including the last 5 minutes where we're winging it. And we'd appreciate if you tell your friends about On Target Radio.
We'd also like to thank our engineer, Eric Allen, and our sponsors, the Will County chapter of the Illinois State Rifle Association, Yellow Checker of Joliet, my editor, Creative Business Services, the Aurora Sportsman's Club, and Safer USA.
And finally, we hope that you listen next week when we'll be covering more red meat issues that affect your life.